Ethan Lee was once the epitome of success in the fast-paced world of tech. As the founder of a thriving startup, he had everything society said he should want: wealth, a prestigious career, and countless relationships. On the surface, his life was perfect, but on the inside, Ethan felt trapped. The more he grasped for control over his work, his future, and even his relationships, the more exhausted and lost he became. One evening, after yet another stressful board meeting, Ethan sat at his desk, staring out of his office window at the sprawling city below. He realized he had been chasing success, but success had become his prison. He had traded one set of chains for another: the pressure of a high-paid job, the weight of societal expectations, and the constant fear of failure. In that moment of clarity, Ethan knew it was time to let go. He walked away from his company, severed ties with unnecessary relationships, and left behind the suffocating environment that had defined his life. With nothing but a small backpack and a heart full of hope, he traveled to a quiet countryside, far from the noise and chaos of the city. At first, the silence was unsettling. There was no internet, no bustling schedule, and no one to tell him what he should be doing. But as the days passed, something shifted. The simplicity of life in the countryside brought a sense of relief. Ethan no longer had to live up to society's expectations. He began to notice the beauty in small things: the warmth of the morning sun, the scent of fresh grass, and the tranquility that settled into his mind. He reflected on a Stoic lesson: he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. The more he let go of the things that didn't serve him, the lighter he became. The pressures that once defined his existence faded, leaving only a clear and peaceful mind. One day, while standing by a river, Ethan found himself holding a small leaf. He thought of it as a symbol of all his burdens, his fears, his regrets, and the things he couldn't control. The longer he held on to the leaf, the more it withered. He realized that the harder he clung to things, the more exhausted and drained he felt. It wasn't about holding on to everything. It was about letting things slip away. He released the leaf into the water, watching it float away. And for the first time in years, Ethan felt a wave of relief. Letting go wasn't a loss, it was freedom. Ethan's journey wasn't just about shedding material possessions. It was a deep spiritual journey. He practiced mindfulness every day, allowing himself moments of stillness, and began to declutter both his living space and his mind. He removed unnecessary items from his home and started examining the relationships that drained him. He asked himself, do I really need to stay connected with everyone? Do all criticisms deserve my attention? As the days went by, Ethan began minimalist journaling, writing down only the 3 most important things for the day. This helped him focus on what truly mattered, and by the end of each day, he felt fulfilled, even if the tasks he completed were small. Letting go wasn't easy, it never is. But as Seneca once said, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. When Ethan stopped longing for what he didn't need, he realized how rich he truly was. One day, while walking along a quiet path, Ethan thought about the invisible chains he had chosen to wear. His fear of rejection, his obsession with perfection, and his anxiety about what others thought of him. He remembered a time when he had turned down a job opportunity because he didn't think he was good enough. But the truth was, it wasn't the job that was holding him back. It was his own fear. Ethan realized that the chains we wear are self-imposed. Once he let go of his fear, he found the courage to step into new opportunities. He understood that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. As Seneca wisely said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The fear of failure or rejection holds no real power over us unless we allow it to. Ethan's journey wasn't just about external change. It was about shifting his internal perspective. Instead of fleeing from difficult situations, he began practicing Stoic philosophy, choosing to change how he viewed the world. When he faced a frustrating situation, he asked himself, does this emotion reflect reality, or is it just my interpretation of it? He learned to distance himself mentally from his emotions, gaining a clearer perspective on the situation. In doing so, he found peace. One rainy day, Ethan decided to challenge himself further by spending the day alone with no distractions. No phone, no emails, just him and his thoughts. At first, it felt uncomfortable, even awkward. But as the day passed, he realized that the emptiness he had once feared was actually a space for self-reflection and growth. The quiet revealed to him the strength he had always possessed within. Ethan also practiced gratitude. Each day, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. It wasn't about grand gestures, it was the simple things: the warmth of a cup of tea, the sound of birds chirping, or the feeling of the earth beneath his feet, that filled him with a deep sense of peace. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Ethan learned that happiness wasn't about accumulating more, it was about appreciating what he already had. One of the most profound lessons Ethan learned was that true freedom doesn't come from owning everything, but from owning nothing. In a world obsessed with more, Ethan discovered that letting go of possessions and desires brought him the greatest sense of freedom. He no longer compared himself to others. He realized that the key to true wealth wasn't in material possessions, but in the richness of his experiences and relationships. As he let go of his attachment to external validation, Ethan found that he no longer needed to prove anything to anyone. He was free to walk his own path, unburdened by society's expectations. He realized that freedom wasn't something to chase, it was something to embrace. True freedom came from within. Ethan's journey of letting go was just beginning. He had released the weight of his past, the fear of the future, and the pressure to meet others' expectations. Now, as he stood on the edge of a new chapter, he knew that true freedom wasn't about escaping from the world, it was about being fully present in it. By letting go of everything that no longer served him, he had uncovered a freer, lighter, and stronger version of himself. And so, Ethan walked forward, embracing the unknown with an open heart, knowing that his true path had always been inside him. In the quiet, in the letting go, he had found peace. And that was all he ever truly needed. Did you find this story interesting and inspiring? Don't hesitate to leave a comment now. If you find the story really engaging, comment 1 to show your agreement. If you think there is something missing or not impressive, comment 2 and share your thoughts with us. Let's discuss and make this story even better. We always appreciate your comments.